Hello and welcome to the Shack News Chattycast, the podcast that's been up since 6 in the morning, staggering its amiibo releases. So, that was a long-winded intro. You might notice I'm not Steve Watts today. Steve Watts is out up to his neck in things that are not amiibos.
So we believe.
So we believe. No, well, no, we got our amiibo obsessed people on this staff, and I don't think Steve's one of them unless he's a closet one. But
definitely in the closet about it.
Oh, for sure. Like he's got like a closet full of Mega Man amiibos. So anyway, I'm Ozzie Mejia, your wonderful senior editor for Shack News, and this week I am your host, and I am joined by Josh Hawkins.
That coffee's good.
I introed you like right in the mid coffee sip. That's the best. And Stephen Wong.
Hello.
All right, so by now we're on episode 48. You know, we're almost on episode 50. So most of you that have been with us from the beginning, first of all, thank you for being with us from the start of this outfit. And by now, if you've been around for a while, you know how it works. We solicit our chatty community for for what they want to talk about in the gaming world. We take their questions, we go ahead and discuss them all together, and we have a nice little show all about it. But before we do that, we're going to start as we're going to do every week, and we're going to talk about what we've been playing. And if I know Steven and Josh, I know exactly what they've been playing. You guys are still on The Witcher, aren't you?
I think Josh OD'd on The Witcher.
Dude, I've 80 hours on the PS4, and I'm just now getting my PC game started, and I've modded the heck out of it. It looks so good, and I'm just ready to really dive into it now. It's just...
We go ahead and discuss them all together, and we have a nice little show.
You should mute your YouTube, Ozzy.
You know, I made fun of Andrew for this. I was the first one to point and laugh at him. Like, look at the video guy. Doesn't know how the basics of this thing works, and yet, you know, here I am. So this is revenge. He put a juju curse on me or something. All right, go on, Josh. Did not mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's just such a great game, and it's so good on PC too. Like on every console I've played it on so far. And I've been playing some Dirty Bomb, which is really, really good. Which is featured in the show Important today. So that was pretty cool to get to play with some of the guys behind that.
That's the more competitive team-based multiplayer game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like the fast-paced games of ye old. So.
Like this is the one where they basically told you like if you're a casual, like casuals need not apply, or something like that. It's supposed to be the more hardcore one.
I was watching it. I was watching Joe fail at it, and it didn't seem that
Joe's
hardcore.
pretty casual. Joe's pretty casual.
So, all right then. So
This was the entirety of Joe's stream. Oh look, I spawned. Oh look, I'm dead. Oh look, I spawned. Oh look, I'm dead.
To be fair, that's just Joe through Call of Duty also.
All right, guys, be nice now. Be nice.
But what are your impressions of Dirty Bomb so far? Like, how are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it a lot. I've actually kind of started my whole PC gaming thing some years back, about 5 years ago, with FPS games. And over the past about year and a half, I've kind of fallen out of love with them, and Dirty Bomb's kind of like rekindling that flame. So it's nice to actually have an FPS game I want to play.
And something that's a little more hardcore. I mean, I love Team Fortress. I've loved TF2 for about almost 10 years now. But there is something to be said about that whole, just getting that whole Counter-Strike feel again. Like I miss Counter-Strike type shooters, and you know, if Dirty Bomb kind of fills that need, then yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Like a Counter-Strike shooter, or is it more like a TF2 shooter?
It's kind of like a happy medium between both, really. I mean, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but then it's not as silly as Team Fortress 2. So it's kind of a nice in-between.
Can we at least agree that it's looking better than Brink?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Brink. Let's not even talk about that.
So how would you say it compares to Overwatch? Oh, what Overwatch looks like?
I mean, Overwatch looks pretty good. The biggest thing with Overwatch is seeing if Blizzard's walk, you know, if their kind of trot into the FPS world is actually gonna work out, because it's something that they haven't really done before, you know. So, and these guys, the guys that are behind Dirty Bomb, are responsible for games like Enemy Territories. So it's something that they've worked on before. They know what it's like. They know what they're going into. And Blizzard doesn't really have that, per se. I don't really know much about the devs behind that, so I can't say for sure. But it's something that they haven't really done before. But I don't know. It'll just be kind of one of those things when we get a playable version of Overwatch that we can kind of sit down and look at.
I didn't bring up Brink necessarily to make fun of it, but I think the reason that I brought it up was because I think some people are still gun shy on splash damage after Brink kind of came and fizzled out within about a month or so. So I wasn't sure if.
No, Brink
The reason I wanted to make that comparison was,
Yeah.
it's not another Brink. Like that's the main reason that kind of people are skeptical about this.
And also, Dirty Bomb is free to play, so.
Yeah,
not
Brink
much
had
risk.
a lot. Brink had a lot more issues and a lot more risk to it than Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb enters open beta next Tuesday and it's free to play, so you can try it out without wasting any money. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good reason to try it out. Hey, Steven, what you been playing?
I've been playing too many things. I've been dabbling in Magicka. I've been playing Galactic Civilizations 3, and mostly Galactic Civilizations 3 because it's just one of those strategy games, like a four-time strategy game, just eats up all your time. But, yeah. Plus, I like conquering the galaxy. It's me.
Who doesn't?
It's very satisfying to conquer the galaxy.
Is it much of a time investment on that? Because I feel like I want to get into it, but I don't know if I have the time.
Well, I think all 4X games are big time investments. Even if you play like in a small galaxy, in a small map, it's an investment because basically, like if you start off in a small galaxy, everyone's on top of each other, and the only way to bust out is to build up an army and start shooting everybody really quick. So.
Yeah. You guys, I want to say that I've been playing more games, and I want to say that I've been diving into The Witcher 2, to The Witcher 3, but I haven't had a chance. Like,
He's our dog.
What has Splatoon been eating up all your time?
I did play Splatoon over the weekend, and that was a lot of fun when it was working. And I'm actually really happy to say that apparently there are no online issues, which kind of really had me concerned after Saturday, because the first hour was just a horror show. Like, no one was able to get in at all. Like, it was crashing all over the place. I go, okay, this is a bad sign. And then they extended the thing for another hour and worked flawlessly, and it's looking like we're getting more of the latter than we are of the former. Actually, because I've been out so much as of late, the game that I picked up that nobody's really talking about just because it's like ultra casual is Puzzle and Dragons. And that's one of those things that I kind of dismissed as like kind of a Bejeweled type of puzzle game. Little deeper than that. I'm actually really surprised at how hard this is proving to be. And I never played Puzzle Quest before. But
Puzzle Quest?
Yeah.
Is it related to Puzzle Quest?
I think Puzzle and Dragon Z kind of has that RPG narrative to it. Like, it's supposed to be like a much kind of deeper story and kind of like more MMO style, like kind of questing and side quests and that type of thing. I haven't had a chance to jump into Puzzle and Dragon Z because I've been into Puzzle and Dragon Super Mario Edition, which I jumped into because it's more linear. It's more of the kind of traditional Mario style type of game. I'm through World 4. Like, I'm getting my butt kicked in this game. Like, it's actually just because it's not just about matching. If you match a color, it has to correspond to the characters that you have in play. Like, if you match like a bunch of reds and you don't have any red characters, it doesn't cause any damage. It doesn't attack. So you got to actually kind of strategize a little bit and kind of do the whole rock paper scissors thing with the enemies that are in play. And also, you get to like upgrade your minions that you capture. That you get Stockholm syndrome. Get to recruit some of Bowser's guys to join your team, and you upgrade them as you go along. Like, you turn your Goomba into a Paragoomba. You turn a Thwomp into a Big Thwomp. And you can turn a Hammer Brother into like any variety of Hammer Brother that they got out there. So it turns Nintendo characters, all Nintendo characters, into Pokemon? Kind of. Bejeweled powered Pokemon?
Gotta catch 'em all!
Kind Kind of. The capture system is really random. Like it took me a while to capture my first Hammer brother, just because like the whole thing is all kind of random. And upgrading requires items like your super leaves, your super mushrooms, and getting those are a crapshoot. Like it gets really hard to get some of those items until you get to about World 3, where you pay 100 coins to like play the slot machine and you get whatever. I got more often than not I got a lot of 1-up mushrooms. Which, by the way, of all the games for the live system to only max out at 9, that crap. Like,
so the important question is does the AI have that like really cheap feeling ability like in Puzzle Quest where you would have the AI and the developers swear that they didn't do anything to the AI to make it so powerful, but I played games of Puzzle Quest where the computer opponent got 50 chain combos and just completely wiped me out in one turn.
well, that's the thing. The AI actually does not play the game. The AI actually just attacks like a standard RPG. And the attacks are kind of they're pretty powerful, but I didn't really feel like there was a lot of strategy until the more recent levels. Like I hit Wendy Koopa, which I'm just like, okay, she's like a water-based enemy or whatever, so you got to match a bunch of wood orbs. She has an attack where she'll absorb all your wood orbs will restore her HP for 5 turns. So you have to make it so you don't match any wood, which gets hard because a lot of times you'll do it by accident. Like you'll chain them by accident. So I got like maybe a 10 to 12 chain, but one of them was like matched like 5 wood orbs. So she ended up getting back more HP than any damage I caused. It gets frustrating in that sense, but it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't take so much time that you won't try again. It's like Hearthstone in that sense, in that the time investment isn't all that intense. So it's actually going to be. It's one of the more underrated games of the last couple of months. Because if you're like waiting in line in an amusement park like I was this past weekend, then it's a great game to just kind of pick up and play for like a couple minutes. Like I actually really enjoyed it, and 2 games in 1 for like whatever it is, like $30-$35. Definitely not something to complain about. Also, Heroes of the Storm. Have you
been rocking it? Have you been rocking Heroes of the Storm?
I'm ready to. I went to Blizzard yesterday, and I can't talk about in detail about what they showed me because they will find me and they will kill me. But I can say that.
Will they use Frostmourne to run you through?
Yeah, I will say that I was able to run through with some of the heroes that have already been released, and I can tell that there are a lot of styles that I want to get into. Like I remember trying Raynor way back when they unveiled the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty decent. I tried going a little more complex this time with Jaina and trying to go with the whole range attacks and that type of thing. Didn't work out so well for me. Like even calling in water elementals, I kind of just doomed me all to hell. I couldn't master her ranged attacks. I couldn't do any damage with Cone of Cold. It takes some learning, but what I like the most about Heroes is that yes, you can push lanes, but the secondary objectives are just as fun to try and do and actually play a lot into your team strategy. Like if you complete one of those secondary objectives and you like get that boost, yeah, it'll help you a lot. But you can also just like wait for the other team to waste time or like stop them from doing it while you just like tell one person, okay, you're a giant tank. Just go to the top lane and just like we're gonna distract everybody else. Like the strategies are pretty cool. I'm actually really enjoying it, and I want to try and get more into Heroes this weekend and also when it launches next week, because next week is the big launch date, and it's kind of easy to forget about that just because it's been in beta for not that long. I think it's only been in open beta for a couple of weeks compared to how long Dota took to get to its final stage. It's a little hard to believe that it's already time for Heroes. So I'm going to give it a look this weekend, and I'll definitely play more of the launch version. Possibly for review. Possibly have a review ready to go on the site next week. So we'll see how that's looking. And now that we've talked about what we've been playing, it's time to go into our topics. So Amusatron pointed me to a post from Unatco Telephone, and he's been going on about some old games. So he goes, a recent post about Interstate 76 got me thinking. Are there any games that haven't had a sequel in decades that really deserve one? And I know we've kind of dipped on this before, but I'm wondering if we have some fresh perspectives here after a couple of weeks of thinking about it. Like, what haven't we seen in a couple of decades that you just kind of want to see a follow-up to? Even if it's not necessarily meant to have a sequel, even if it's just kind of a standalone, like, what do you kind of want to see go back to that world? Like, let's start with Josh. Josh, what do you want to see?
I need another System Shock game.
Ready to go back to the System Shock world?
I'm ready, man. They left it so open, and there's just so much potential with that series. We need another System Shock game. BioShock is great, but it doesn't really live up to System Shock.
Because it's a little different, isn't it? Like, it's kind of a different type of...
It's completely different.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, so many people look at BioShock and they're like, oh, it's the big spiritual successor, it's so much better, blah, 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 but it's not. I like the way System Shock works better than BioShock.
System Shock is more of an RPG. Like, you have an inventory, you have different classes.
You choose who your character is, you're not just, DeWitt.
And it's more of a cyberpunk gothic horror, or cyberpunk horror game than BioShock. And
that's been one of those games that people in our community just absolutely love. It was part of Watcher XP's top 100 PC games of all time. I think it was like in the top 20. So people absolutely love System Shock 2.
So good.
So I'd probably be inclined to agree with you guys that we probably should see a couple more of these. Steven, any other things you want to see from...
I don't know. I mean, a lot of the games that I wanted some sort of sequel or a follow-up to are getting sequels and follow-ups. Like, I wanted to see a follow-up to Syndicate a while back, and then the developers of Syndicate are coming out with Satellite Rain, which is another spiritual successor, but it looks very Syndicate-like, much better than the first-person shooter that came out a while ago. So I don't have that much that I'm missing right now. I think there's a lot out there.
I think I've been on a Star Wars kick as of late, possibly because of everything that we've been seeing from Battlefront and just like what we've been seeing go up on Steam and go up on Good Old Games. I think I'm ready for another Rogue Squadron. I'm ready to start getting in an X-wing and just flying around again. And
did they come out with like a Rogue Squadron, like a free-to-play Rogue Squadron a couple months ago?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Have they?
I thought they did. I thought I saw something. It was like,
because the last Rogue Squadron I remember was the GameCube launch title, like way back in like 2001. That was like kind of put the Rogue Squadron trilogy to bed. And
I don't think it's operational anymore, but I thought LucasArts was working on like an online follow-up to Rogue Squadron, where it was like free to play. You could play it from your web browser or something like that, and then they crashed. So now it's gone.
And I think part of the reason I have that itch is that whole disappointment that Battlefront isn't going to have space combat, which is
it won't have space combat until the DLC. Wait for the space combat DLC.
I have so many gripes with Battlefront right now. The 20 versus 20 player thing, the no space battles. It's just, I think that DICE is going at this the wrong way. They're like, we want to make sure that people don't think it's just another Battlefield game. And in doing that, they're limiting themselves way too much. Like, when I think epic space battles in Battlefront, I don't think, oh yeah, 20 people versus 20 people. Woo.
It feels like they're playing it too safe, kind of like Titanfall did. Like Titanfall had a lot of cool ideas, but they played it really safe in some areas, and they didn't take a lot of like huge risks.
They did, and the only way that Battlefront could really make the battles seem huge and immense would be to add a bunch of bots, which would just ruin it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not as optimistic that we'll see space battles in DLC. I think we're not going to see it till the sequel, which, yay, we're looking forward to 2018. I mean,
that gets on my nerves though. Like, it's annoying because they're taking like 3 steps backwards from what a game with half the budget was able to pull off.
It makes me think that DICE doesn't want to have like a Battlefield 4 launch where if they put too many things in, it's going to launch with like as a buggy mess. But DICE's track record makes me think that that's going to happen anyway. So
yeah, I mean, it probably is. I don't know. Right now when I look at Battlefront, I don't look at it as Battlefront as I remember Battlefront because it's not, you know?
And you played the old school Battlefront recently, right? Like you played Battlefront 2 not too long ago.
Yeah, and I mean it's just there's so much in Battlefront 2 that's not going to be in the new one, you know?
Yeah, it's the game that one of the games I'm looking forward to the most this year, and also the game that I'm simultaneously dreading because, I mean, I'm joking to people. I'm like, hey, Battlefront's going to be like, you know, the best game of the year, you know, in 2016, a year after launch. So I'm not.
I mean, they just got Battlefield 4 into shape 18 months after release. So I mean, I guess that's what we had to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm not really filled with confidence on that one. So it sounds like we've already exhausted our sequel ideas. Maybe we just have like sequel fatigue.
Psychonauts. We need a Psychonauts.
Definitely got to mention Psychonauts.
Yeah, but that hasn't.
Psychonauts a little bit later. So, but
yeah, I mean,
I thought we were restricting the question to games that came out like a decade ago.
It's almost been a decade. It didn't come out in like 2006.
I thought it had been a decade already. Maybe. Like we're in 2015. Like a lot of stuff is.
Psychonauts released in April 2005, so it's been a decade.
We missed the 10-year anniversary of Psychonauts? Man,
we did.
That looks bad on us.
Well, maybe we were brainwashed.
We were brainwashed.
You know what? We gave Grim Fandango so much attention that it makes up for it.
I was giving Broken Age all the attention, and I don't regret that because I actually enjoyed Broken Age a lot. I actually did like that story. The only thing about Broken Age is I feel like it'd almost be a better iOS game. I feel like it'd almost be a better game to play on tablet, just because those
there are a lot of
tablet.
We need a Gwent standalone game. Just throwing that out there.
Don't doubt that we're not going to get one. I mean, if it takes off, I mean, I don't see why CD Projekt Red wouldn't just do like a 99-cent Gwent game on iOS. It'd probably do. I mean, they've done iOS before, like
The Witcher Arena.
Yeah, like I haven't tried that yet, but I haven't heard bad things about it. I haven't heard anything about it actually, but
just throwing that out there. So
The Witcher is everywhere. The Witcher is on your phone.
The Witcher is everywhere except on my TV, which is where it needs to be. It needs to be on my TV where I can just like get a good 12 hours alone with it.
It's so good. Try 80. 80 is a much better amount of time to spend with it.
Oh, on a tangent, I remember what else I was playing like in the last couple of weeks. I got through the third chapter of Life is Strange, but I will just say that I discussed that in more detail on Shack News because I can't talk about it without going into spoilers. And at this point, you need to tread a lot of water when you're talking about Life is Strange because you cannot spoil that game for anybody. I'm actually starting to like it more than I'm liking certain Telltale games, which is high praise. Yeah, Don't Nod is doing so much good work with a story-based game that I'm almost curious to go check out Remember Me again.
I thought the episode 2 little train track scene was a little contrived.
Oh, there's one thing that you should know going to Life is Strange. The dialogue is awful. It's bad. Like you'll hear some of the dialogue and you'll be like, wait, people don't talk like this. Who talks like that?
Well, apparently French developers trying to imitate American teenagers talk like that.
Yeah. But the story itself is actually really good. I'm actually really taken in by like the overall themes and like the motifs and all that. So I'm hoping they'll keep that going with the last 2 episodes because I don't want to see it fall flat on its face because it set up some really good stuff in the last 2 episodes, which I will not discuss any further because spoilers. Not.
There's a train involved.
Sure, let's just go with that.
Trains and train tracks. They are involved, and time manipulation.
Does she like trains?
Everybody likes trains, Josh. All right, let's go to our second question, and this is from Hemtroll, who's become one of our favorite contributors here. And he's asking a really good question here. Have you ever skipped a game because you haven't played the previous games in the series and didn't know the story? I replayed both Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 before Inquisition came out. Wanted to do the same for The Witcher 3, but ended up just watching the recap videos instead. I feel like much of the impact of a story-focused game is lost when you come in halfway through the series. How do you guys feel about that?
Josh?
Why do I have to start things off? All right,
as our resident RPG expert.
Or as our resident Witcher expert. Even although CD Projekt Red said from the beginning, you do not have to have played the first two Witcher games to get into Witcher 3. Like, they kind of tried to make that clear.
You don't, but you do. Because the third game picks up like 6 months after the events of the second game. So, like, the entire war that's going on, you want to know why these people are killing each other, you need to know what happened in the second game. But aside from that, I think Chemtroll is right. You know, you do lose a lot of the impact of a story-focused game when you come in half. But a lot of times, games will kind of figure out a way to kind of like recap you, so you at least know a little bit about what's going on. But as far as skipping a game because I haven't played the previous games, I like video games too much to do that.
I do too, but I'm guilty of this because I did not touch Mass Effect 2 and 3 because I did not play the first Mass Effect. The entire draw of that game is your decisions carry over from game to game.
Yeah, but
and I go, Mass Effect is a huge time investment.
But the gameplay of Mass Effect 2 is lots different from Mass Effect 1.
Yes, they improved so much in 2.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I heard that the gameplay in Mass Effect 2 got so much better because I actually did try the first Mass Effect for a couple of hours, and I didn't really care for it.
It was rough. It was rough.
Like, I didn't like it all that much. But then when I kept hearing about 2 and going, oh yeah, everything that you did in the first game is going to go straight to 2, and I go, wait, so then I basically have to play the first game. I don't know if I want to do that.
But
so,
there was kind of a point where that kind of fell flat on its face.
You mean the ending?
No, because the second game and the first game, kind of spoilers here, but these games have been out so long I think it's safe to talk about this. There's a character in the first game named Garrus who can die in the first game, if I remember correctly. But in the second game, no matter whether he died or not, he's magically back. So, I mean, there were some choices.
Does Garrus die in the first game? No, I don't think
I think there's like I don't know. It's been so long since I've played them.
Your choices for Mass Effect 1 are between the woman soldier, and I don't remember names. The woman soldier or the guy who's the tech soldier, who's I think he was like a telepath, a kinetic, and
That's right. Maybe it's like if you don't recruit him, but like in the second game you recruit him anyways. Like he's recruited anyways. That's what it was. So I mean,
he just forces his way in. He's just like, hey.
It's still a choice that you made in the first game that isn't honored completely in the second game. But overall, they did do that. But
you can justify that by saying that you didn't really recruit him. It was it was the organization that brought him on in Mass Effect 2.
But it wasn't an organization.
It was Cerberus that just decided, hey, this Garrus dude, let's just bring him on. Why not?
But they didn't. They didn't. Anyways, off this tangent. We're moving on from this tangent.
I will say that, getting off the Mass Effect train, there is one game that I haven't played all the way to completion. I played about like maybe 75% of it, but I'm going to get back into it, is Deus Ex. Like, I want to get through Human Revolution before we get to...
I haven't beat it yet either. I need to go back.
Because just looking at those early trailers just makes me think, okay, we're like, they may have something here. Like, I'm actually really excited to see what Square Enix can pull off with this. So, hoping for the best on the next Deus Ex, just because Human Revolution was tremendous. Like, that's a great game. I don't know why I haven't finished it, but...
So that leads to an interesting question. Would you skip a prequel or a reboot prequel to if you didn't play the original game? Like, I didn't finish the original Deus Ex, but I know the ending to it, or the endings to it, I should say, because I played the sequel. But I wouldn't have skipped Human Revolution. I mean, there are a lot of tie-ins from Human Revolution to Deus Ex, but
So you're saying, like, if you had played Borderlands 2, would you have skipped the pre-sequel?
yeah, I mean, should we skip the pre-sequel if you didn't play Borderlands 2 because there's so much connectivity between the two games?
I want to say I would have skipped the pre-sequel, but then they had to just come out with that Claptrap DLC to just kind of end that whole thing. And you know, I'm a big Claptrap guy, so I'd at least play that last DLC if nothing else.
You gotta Claptrap it up.
Yeah, right?
Stuck in Claptrap's mind. You
You
are
do not want to be stuck in Claptrap's
you are
mind.
forcefully thrust inside Claptrap.
No.
That sounds
You
terrible,
are.
Steven.
That's a horrible idea.
It's a direct line from the game. You're forcefully thrust into Claptrap.
Go figure.
God, you'd be hearing dubstep 24 hours a day. I mean, you hear him rambling. If you saw into his inner psyche and you see like how lonely the poor guy is, I mean.
Well, you actually have to do battle with his low self-esteem.
Yeah, and it's a tough battle.
It's like a giant monster battle.
When I talked to Gearbox right before writing the Claptrap retrospective, they basically described Claptrap as the Charlie Brown of the series, and that's sad. That makes you almost want to cry. It's like, come on.
That is sad. That really does make you kind of want to cry.
Yeah, I'd say I'm safe on skipping prequels. As far as skipping sequels, just because I haven't played the first one, I'd say Mass Effect is probably like the biggest one for me. Like I can't really imagine any other one that I've done that because story means a lot. Story, especially if they're trying to tell a definitive beginning, middle, and end. So I can't see myself if I'm really invested in a story, I'd basically just go from start to finish. And
I agree to a point, but you know.
Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the new Batman game, and I haven't beat any of the previous ones, so.
You haven't beaten any of the previous Batman games?
Spoiler: Batman wins.
Okay, Steven, you talked about skipping prequels. I did not play Origins all the way through. I did not play Arkham Origins.
You didn't miss anything. I didn't finish Origins either. I didn't like it as much as the mainstream Batman Arkham games.
I think we're getting an echo on your end, Ozzie. Maybe from someone. Yeah, it's from you.
It's not me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
I think it's you, Ozzie. It's definitely you, Ozzie. It's definitely you.
I
don't know. Do you have speakers on? Where your mic can pick them up?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Oh boy, this is professional, baby. How about now?
Oh, much better.
Much better, but yeah.
Yeah, I closed Chrome. Like I'm just like screw it, get rid of the whole thing. But yeah, as far as Origins goes, I didn't really bother with it. I think the point I stopped with it was I was like maybe about an hour and a half in. I started gliding across Gotham City, and the game crashed. And I'm just like, wait, I don't think it saved anything I did for the past 15, 20 minutes.
Ozzie's just like, well, that's it, guys. That's it.
Done.
Over.
I win.
I made it. Actually, no. I don't remember where I made it. I was thinking of the Cold Heart expansion, which is actually pretty good.
I did want to play that. I actually did want to look at that. I'm actually a big fan of Mr. Freeze, so I would love to take a look at that. And maybe I will go back. Before Arkham Knight consumes my life.
I installed Arkham City. I figured I'd play it.
You know what? Looking at the trailer for Arkham, the latest trailer for Arkham Knight, I realized that there's a great deal of hypocrisy with Batman's no-kill mentality, because Poison Ivy kills her captor right in front of Batman, and Batman's like, "You coming or what?" I'm just like, dude, she just murdered someone right in front of you, and you're just like, all right, let's go for a ride. You're under arrest.
The casualty of war. It's a war against crime. Yeah, it's that. That trailer is so great. I'm sorry, Steven. I just like reflecting on how amazing that last trailer was.
It was. I loved it. She's like, doesn't he ever learn? And like the door's open and he's there. And it's like, don't you ever learn? Batman. You can't stop
So awesome.
Batman.
All right, I'm going to try not to gush too much and just move on to our
You can't
last.
stop Batman, but apparently you can commit cold-blooded murder right in front of him, and he won't make a thing out of it.
It's a job hazard. It's all it is, just a job hazard.
Yep.
All right, last one. I mentioned that we were going to tease Psychonauts, so that's part of this question from Surgeon. He wants to talk about crowdsourced game development. I see examples of the gaming community having influence over development decisions. Hashtag IDARB seems to be an example of this. I have to say hashtag IDARB because that's what it's called. But even on a small scale, vocal gamers are more and more lending their expert, quote-unquote, opinions on game development. This sort of ties into a Polygon story that played a clip of how focus groups, if taken literally, could have destroyed the heart and soul of Psychonauts, which, on a side, I actually read that piece from Justin McElroy. It's actually a really brilliant little opinion piece. Give that a look if you have a chance. So should developers listen to their audience, or should they go with their gut feeling, for better or worse? So let's start with Steven this time, since I've had Josh kick off the last two. What's your opinion? Should developers just kind of go with their gut, or should they actually listen to the audience, even if it might wreck the vision of the game?
I think they should listen to the audience within limits. I mean, when it comes down to the end of the day, it's your baby, and you want to please the fans, but a lot of the time fans want the same thing over and over again, and then complain that they're getting the same thing over and over again. So you want to introduce some sense of innovation. You want to write the story that you want to write, and produce the game that you want to create. So I mean, and that's the long and short of it. It's your game. Make it however you will.
Josh, what do you think?
It's interesting because we actually just had this conversation in a discussion for my current school course. I think that to a degree they should listen to the fans, but in the end, the work is that of the developer, of the writers. And they know more about it than the fans do, than the people in the focus group do. And I think that they should, all in all, they should make their piece of work the way they want it to be, while taking into account what the fans are looking for.
Okay. This is a tough question, and I think
unless you're Peter Molyneux, then listen to the fans every once in a while.
Yeah, because sometimes you mentioned that, and there is a case where sometimes the creator can go a little bit overboard.
Of course.
Sometimes your vision can go off the rails, and if that's the case, then nobody ends up liking it in the end. Even in retrospect, even you start to think that you might have gone too far. So in this sense, I feel like games with larger audience bases find it a little tougher to answer this, because you got to differentiate between who your loyal community is and who the loud minority is. And if you can't differentiate between the two, you're going to end up creating something that your entire fan base is going to that most of your fan base is going to reject. So you got to be really careful with this sort of thing. And if you have something like a little bit of a smaller audience, it gets a little bit easier. I think for as much maligned as WildStar has been in the last couple of months, I think the fact that they have a smaller core audience benefits them really well, just because they've been able to help shape that game into something that's a lot more enjoyable, into something that's a lot, something that you would actually have a lot more fun playing. So MMOs have increasingly started to fracture their base. Not fracture. Fracture is the wrong word. MMOs seem to have more core bases to solicit their community and just go, okay, we can experiment with this. We can kind of fans seem to be enjoying that, and they have a lot more flexibility in that instance. I'm actually very, very pleased to see that that developers are doing that, but it's a tough line to walk.
Well, you know what? I think that increasingly we're going to see developers just split it down the middle. They can produce the game that you want, just focus on getting really nice gameplay, good story, and a nice baseline out there, and then release a comprehensive set of modding tools, and then let the modding community create the stories that they want to see, or if they think that something is wrong with the game, there are a lot of modders who just change the rule set.
Modding's a good idea. I think a game like City Skylines, where like just modders kind of put in what they want, and you know, if your mod is really done really well, then developers will kind of adopt it. Developers will endorse it. Developers will just throw up the link and go, "Hey, this really adds to the game in a way that we didn't think of." So, yeah, I think you're right in that instance, especially for the PC community. The PC community makes that very easy, and I actually do hope we see more of that. I hope we do see more of what we've been seeing from City Skylines up in the future. I hope that we see more mods like what we've been seeing from The Witcher 3, which Josh just threw up a feature a little while ago. It's up on Shack News right now. That kind of shows that, hey, the fan base can be creative, and the fan base can also be passionate about a certain part of the game, or even Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls had that whole thing where they wanted to see like certain.
Yeah, Dark Souls had the benefit of the fans actually having to fix it. So.
Yeah. So
it was a broken mess. Still is.
I definitely hope that creators go in that direction, but when it comes to like the super outlandish ideas, sometimes the creator needs to take control of what their game is. They need to remember that at the end of the day, it is theirs.
Definitely.
So, especially if the fans just want to homogenize what they made, like they want to get your game because it's different, dude. Like don't make the same thing that everybody else has.
Don't release COD 4 again every year.
Exactly.
Why not? People love COD 4.
Or don't release like the same platformer. Don't release the same RPG. If your thing stands out and people don't like it, well, maybe refine it a little bit. Maybe shape it in some way, but don't scrap it. Like if it's what makes your game unique, just go forward with it. What have you got to lose?
Maybe more game developers should play Game Dev Tycoon before they're allowed to make a game. Because in that game, if you don't have a new engine each time you make a new game, then your game utterly fails. So
you have a new engine for every game?
Yes, you have to at least have you have to wait at least 4 years in the game to do a sequel.
Who does that? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a game. It's a game. I'm saying though.
Call of Duty has been using the same foundational code since Quake 3. I think it's still Quake engine.
Like so many people are using Unreal, and so many people are using Unity, and I can imagine.
Yeah, but they're always releasing updates to these engines and stuff
Oh, so you got to at least update it then.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed. The past 3 Assassin's Creeds have all been pretty much on the same engine, and they've actually gone backwards in the features that they have. So I mean, if they try, make sure to add something new that it's not just the same regurgitated stuff.
Oh, Assassin's Creed, I love you. I love you, Assassin's Creed, but yeah.
You gotta break my heart.
I love the idea of Assassin's Creed, not what it's become, though.
I want to see something better from Syndicate. Like, Unity was... And this is why it's so crazy to be a reviewer sometimes, because I only saw, maybe a couple of the minor bugs when I was reviewing Unity. I didn't see the freaking outlandish shit that came out of the woodwork after it came out. I'm like, wait a minute, how did I not see this?
You didn't jump off enough buildings.
But
you didn't put on the invisibility sunscreen.
We're hard on Assassin's Creed because we love Assassin's Creed and because we want it to be good. We get harsh with certain games. We get harsher with certain games than we do with others because we want to see them be good. We want them to be good games. We want to have a good experience with these. We don't want the buggy junk that we've been getting.
That we be getting. We don't want the buggy junk that we be getting.
So yeah, I somehow turned this topic into another Assassin's Creed whiplashing. I should stop doing that.
That's what happens when Steve Watts leaves.
Well, no. When Steve Watts is here, then we're bashing on Resident Evil.
That's Daniel. Daniel bashes on Resident Evil. Steve likes to talk about Hearthstone.
Which I'm on rank 15. I'm actually doing pretty well this month. So
There you go. That was for Steve.
I can't complain about my Hearthstone progress. I finally got a Sneed's Old Shredder. I finally got one of those last night. One of my Goblins and Gnomes packs. Really happy about it. Don't know where I'm gonna fit it, but I have it.
We have inserted our obligatory Hearthstone bit.
And that's a good place to end the show. So we're gonna go around the horn and talk about what we're playing this weekend. So we're gonna start with Steven. What are you playing this weekend?
I will be testing my Immortal Ruler capabilities with Massive Chalice.
Nice. That's right. That's coming out next week on PC and unexpectedly on Xbox One. I was a little surprised about that.
Games with gold.
You could play Massive Chalice with a controller.
Yeah, and for free on Xbox One.
Yeah, they were saying that they've refined the controls for. I don't see how it'd be any different than playing XCOM with a controller.
Yeah, true. I like the idea of being a ruler and a human breeder at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like going, you marry you, and you're going to have the most powerful child that I will send to battle.
It's a eugenic simulator.
It's a eugenic simulator, and it's like an ongoing war that's supposed to go on for centuries. And I don't know, should I feel bad if they produce a defective child, and I'm just like, I'm sending you to war right now just to sacrifice you?
I think it's better than what the ancient Greeks and Romans did, because didn't one of those ancient civilizations just outright kill them?
I think they left them for the gods.
Yeah.
Left them for the gods. They just put them in a forest somewhere where they could cry themselves to sleep for the gods.
That is very grim. Holy crap.
What did you expect them to do? Raise it?
Fair enough. I feel like we're going to get a show title out of that. I actually was expecting a lot. Like when we got the news yesterday about Games with Gold, and someone brought up the idea of Kickstarter and the Kickstarter backers. I actually thought there was going to be a lot more people upset that they go, oh, we gave you money for this game, but now it's going to be going for free for these console people. Actually, there was actually not a lot of backer furor over this. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see that, because I think people are starting to grasp that Kickstarter is more about giving money to make sure the game is made. It's not so much to.
It's not just like I purchased the game.
Yeah, and plus, if you're a Kickstarter backer, you get cool extras. You get like the cool behind-the-scenes documentaries and all that good stuff that Double Fine provides. So there's that. I was kind of surprised with the reaction yesterday, in a good way.
I'd like to take a moment before we continue and read Steve's comment on the Chattycast chatty thread. He says, "I just woke up in a broom closet with a sock in my mouth. Don't listen to Ozzie. He stole my show." So, I just thought you should be aware of that, Ozzie. The accusations are flying.
Keep quiet in there, Steve!
The jig is up.
Josh, what are you playing this weekend?
He has a gag in his mouth, but he chooses to use his hands to tweet instead of removing the gag.
He doesn't want to make a lot of noise during the podcast.
Or throwing his phone at me. You can.
I'm going to be playing some RimWorld. I just picked it up last night. It's this little indie game. It's kind of like Prison Architect, but on a planet, and it's science fiction-y, and you got to survive and build another spaceship and fly up into space and then crash land on the same planet in a different area.
And you build a prison on this alien planet?
I can build a prison. I built a prison. I recruited the guy that I put in the prison. Actually, it was a girl. But, and I'll be playing some Witcher 3. And, there's another game I was playing. Windward. I'll be playing some Windward as well, probably. It's really cool. Really nice, calming game.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's time for me to finally get started in earnest on this Heroes of the Storm thing and finally start...
What happened to The Witcher 3?
What are you playing, Ozzie? We're so confused.
I'm going to eventually get to The Witcher 3.
Are you playing Splatoon, The Witcher 3, Puzzles and Dragons Mario Edition,
Puzzles and Dragons Mario Edition is what I'm playing when I'm like at the DMV or something. Which, for the record, I do have an appointment with them really soon.
Is
That's
often
really helpful.
you go to the DMV like every month to get a new license?
Oddly enough, my license is about to expire, so I probably should get around to that. And I will bring my 3DS with me and play Puzzle and Dragons. But yes, I do actually want to get into Heroes of the Storm this weekend before the launch. And thank you for mentioning Splatoon, because I'm such a troll. Like, I was reading all these pieces like for the last couple of weeks about how the damn paint roller is overpowered. How it's like, it's almost like an insta-kill every time you run someone over. And it's like, well, that sounds annoying. So, of course, like any responsible person, I immediately picked one up, started running the shit out of people, and I go, okay, this is fun. I can troll people with this thing.
So what happens if two people have paint rollers and
they kill each other? It is insta-kill on both ends.
It's like playing Battlefield.
Yeah.
Anytime you kill someone in Battlefield.
Exactly. I'm excited to get my Splatoon on this weekend. I'm hopefully going to have the game by the end of the day, and if not, then I'll just be on Heroes. So we'll just go from there.
And The Witcher 3 still gets overlooked.
The Witcher 3 for me is still going to get overlooked. Look, I'm eventually going to play The Witcher 3. Nothing else, because we're obviously going to be...
The Witcher 3 doesn't need Ozzie.
We should just send Ozzie a picture of like a giant blow up of Geralt's eyes just staring outward, and have Ozzie put it over his television and just
stare at me disapprovingly.
Why aren't you playing The Witcher?
I will eventually get to The Witcher, if for no other reason than we're going to be revisiting that in December for Game of the Year, I believe. Like, that's definitely in the conversation, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely in my conversation.
All right, for sure. So I'm definitely going to pick it up and give it a look. I liked what I played of it back at the preview event in February. Like, I got about 90 minutes with it, and I had a great time. So,
weren't you just big with your preview events in February?
That, thankfully, this was at least somewhat indicative of the final product. We didn't have a Colonial Marine situation, but it's not like we were expecting that from CD Projekt Red anyway. So
I was.
Like, they're good people. So so that's going to do it for us. That's going to do it for us here at the Chattycast. And Steve Watts will be back next week. He's going to... He'll have broken out of my closet by then. And so until then...
He'll use his phone to pick the lock.
How do you pick a lock with a phone?
Well, this is like one of those Watch Dogs.
Are we like in... Yeah, exactly. We're in Sleeping Dogs. We're in Watch Dogs. We're in... we live in a video game world, guys. Like, it's
Super Mario.
The future is now. They have like a lockpick app and everything. So before I go off on any more random tangents, I'm gonna sign off for Stephen Wong, for Josh Hawkins, and for me, Ozzie Mejia. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you on Chatty.